Hey, how y'all doing out there? This is Pete. We're over at D.I.Y Auto School today, and I just want to let you know, if you're doing any type of automobile restoration, whether it's a classic car, a vintage car, possibly a pickup truck, or maybe an old 18-wheeler that's made out of aluminum. They used to make 18-wheelers out of aluminum bodies. I don't know if they still do or not. Or you might even be restoring a Corvette or another type of fiberglass bodied car, and you want to get rid of that old paint, and you want to do it correctly where it doesn't deteriorate or ruin the body itself in any way whatsoever. You want to watch this video all the way through. Now, take for granted it's a long video, but the information that you are going to hear and see in this video is going to not just teach you and show you how to do it properly, but it's going to save you thousands of dollars and time. So let's get with Simon over at Cooper's Stripper Club, all the way over in New Zealand. I did an extensive interview with them. Watch this video. If you're doing any type of auto restoration at home in your garage, you want to watch this video all the way through. And the demonstrations that he gives me, I am shocked. The way that I was using this product was wrong. And I guarantee you, when I do another vehicle to the extreme and magnitude of taking all the paint off, I'll be doing it the way Simon shows us. Here we go. Cooper Stripper Club. Simon, the owner and creator of this product, is going to show us how to do it right, do it right, do it right. Because if you're not doing it right, you're not doing it at all.
Welcome to D.I.Y Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
All right, here we are. We're with Simon Cooper. He is the creator of Cooper Stripper Club, and it's some fantastic stuff you got here. It's just unbelievable the way this stuff works. I've stripped several cars with it, and I mean, it strips it right there as you're looking at it. I mean, seconds after you apply it. What's going on, Simon? How you doing?
I'm great. It's good to be with you today.
All right.
I've got a hood off an F100, and
Okay, so is that a Ford?
yep, 1956.
We got an old Ford. Now, before we go any further, let's go ahead and ask you, where are you actually located? Where are you?
Okay, we're in New Zealand, which
Uh-huh.
is next to Australia,
Right.
down the bottom of the globe.
Now,
And
your ship.
sorry,
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's good. So no, we're down here, and we make our products here and ship them all over the world.
Okay. Now, when you say all over the world, are we talking Japan as well, and just all over Asia and Saudi Arabia, or it's certain countries?
Yep, anywhere it lets you send it, but basically we haven't had anywhere yet it won't go.
Okay, that's great. All right, so you're in New Zealand. You're the creator of this product. You're going to give us a demonstration on an old Ford hood. Let's see what you got, buddy.
Good one. Cheers. Okay, so this is the red one. This is our stripper, and this is in the tin. This is in this tin that you get it in, and
Okay.
so it's poured into there, and then so I'm going to do this corner. So it's a spray on. It's very thin compared to a normal paint stripper.
It's like water.
Yep. And we make it thin so it absorbs.
Uh-huh.
So you don't have to scratch up the paint first, and which is just more work to do. So I'm just putting a medium coat on, and then this is going to very quickly absorb into the paint. And
Now I noticed you're not wearing a mask.
okay, well, I've got a mask here.
Uh-huh.
So I've got a mask, and so if I'm in a garage where there's no ventilation, I definitely need to wear a mask. But we're in a very,
Okay.
very big building. If you can just poke up top there.
I see that. Beautiful building.
Yeah, big old gasworks, a huge amount of space, and it's very, very low odor. But
A lot of ventilation going on is what you're saying.
heaps. And if you want to use a fan as well, that's all good. But it's
Okay.
one of the things people find that is very, very low odor. Now,
Got
the
it.
stripper is absorbing in. Now, we don't have to put plastic over it. Because the thing is we don't know what we're stripping. There'll be acrylics, there could be all sorts of things on this. And so we're just going to monitor it as it goes. And as it absorbs, we're going to apply more over the top.
That quick, right there.
Yeah. Now, if we were brushing it, it's really hard to brush stripper on top of stripper. But it's easy to spray stripper on top of stripper. And this is often one of the things people do wrong is they'll put one coat of stripper on, wrap it in plastic or something, and then wait half an hour, and it's just run out of juice. With this way, and this has got a wax in it to prevent evaporation. So it's now when this goes on, sometimes it bubbles everywhere. Sometimes it just turns it into a paste. It all depends on what you're stripping. And on our different videos,
Right.
you'll see it act differently on all the different cars that we're stripping. And it really
Right. And
depends.
I was going to say the car that I stripped today, it had white stripes on it, and the stripes were like an enamel paint job. And when I put the Cooper stripper on it, it turned to a gooey, like Elmer's glue type, finish where I had to really, just pick it up and goop it up. Whereas
Exactly.
on the green paint that I took it off, it's crinkled up and it bubbled up and it came right off.
Exactly. So some people think it's not working if it's not bubbling. Where
Yeah,
the different chemistry, like acrylics and enamels and different finishes, react differently.
that's right.
But in these 40 odd years I've been doing this, I'm yet to find a finish that it won't strip. It's all about
Okay.
timing and observing what you're doing. So we can see little bubbles popping up on the screen. I don't know if you can see Arthur go up close there.
I can't really see the bubbles, but okay, now I can see them. Yeah, I see that. Look at that.
The little, and if you stay there,
Now,
and so
now this
from
is
time to
real
time,
time here. This is real time we're talking about.
exactly.
Look at
Now,
this, people. Look at this. He's barely touching that, and look at the paint just coming right off. Unbelievable.
so that
Look at that.
purpley blue
Look at
one
that.
there, I'm reckoning that blue one there is some sort of spray putty. Somewhere in its life it's been done whatever, and they've sprayed this spray putty over it to smooth it out, and then put the yellow one on
Some
top.
spray Bondo.
Yep.
Bondo spray. Yeah.
So
But I can kind of see how that paint's reacting. I would say that's probably a single stage paint versus base coat, clear coat.
totally, and
Because when you're doing a base coat, clear coat job, now let me ask you this while you're stripping that. Does it take off one layer of paint at a time? So you would take the clear off, then it would go ahead and penetrate through the paint and then down through the primer. Is that what we're doing here?
what we do is sometimes it goes all the way to the steel, all but in one round. It'll go through the
Okay.
whole lot, but not all the time. Sometimes you'll want to take the clear coats off because if it's got a two-pack clear coat on top, it'll all fizz and go crunchy looking, and so it's quite good to get those off out of the way and then go back to more stripper. And so it's like if we're, sounds crazy, but if we're stripping someone's house, we'll do the same thing. We'll get rid of the acrylic paint before we go on to the enamel paint. Um, it's just sometimes it's more efficient on the product. I mean, I can keep pouring product on and keep doing that for an hour or more, and then get all the way to the steel in one hit, just to show you how cool it is. But I've wasted a lot of product. Where if I strip more intelligently, I'm going to use less time and less product, which is going to save a lot of money. But really, every project is. I mean, I've been, like I say, doing this 40 years, and I always do test patches first. I never just launch into the project. I always do a corner somewhere and test it all out, and that gives me a sort of a battle plan for the job. But so at this point, see, again in the real world, I would mess around on this for an hour to find out, is it a good time to take it off now, or do I leave it a little longer? But what I've done here, I know that it's getting there really easily. So
I see that.
now, when you take it off, a lot of times when people take off stripper, they use a spatula or some sort of knife, and they
A putty
push.
knife.
Yeah, they push the paint off.
Okay.
We don't do that. We always drag it.
Ah, I see
We
that.
you can go through any of our videos and you'll never find
Huh.
pushing the finish off.
Because I use a spatula putty knife to do mine. I've never really used anything like that. Now, what kind of tool is that, Simon?
Okay. Well, this is an American blade. It's from the Hyde Tool Company,
Okay.
and they make. What I like about this blade is it has a curved edge. It's
Got
not
it.
it's not flat. It's so
Right.
you can rock it, and so it's not going to gouge into the steel. But
Okay.
now when I use it, I look at where the steel curves are. So I'm not going to drag it this way because the tips will dig in. So I go down this way.
It's got the inside curve. Yes, I see what
Yep.
you're saying.
So
You got to go with the contour of the product that you're stripping.
in New Zealand, we have lots of sheep. And
Hmm.
so I talk a lot about shearing sheep, you see, where you always go with the curves.
I see that. And look at that. Now you're getting, I see a spot already. You're getting right down to the metal there.
Yep,
And I'm also seeing a section where you're already going down to the Bondo.
exactly.
And I can see the situation where you're pulling it with the scraper blade versus using a spatula. It makes it a lot cleaner and a nicer job as well.
Yeah, this way less energy, less chance of digging in.
Now
And I'm
this
just
is I want to let everybody know this is real time. We're not speeding it up. We're not gimmicking it. He sprayed that on there in front of your eyes, and you can see that this versus, let's just say, aircraft stripper. Look at how clean and efficient it is. Kind of like Simon was saying, we're not using plastic. We're not covering it up for 3 or 4 hours, thinking that it's going to work better. You're just putting it on, letting it penetrate, and just look at this, just coming off like nothing.
and if I get another bonnet, another hood, um, it'll be different paint, will be a different reaction, but again,
Right.
it'll come away.
The car I just got done stripping, the paint bubbled up immediately. I mean, extremely. It just wanted to come up, and there was a lot of places, like you were saying, it turned into muck. And I mean, it was a big mess, but I'm telling you, it came off very fast.
People often ask me why I'm not in all my overalls and things, and I say, well, this is a controlled mess. It's a very
Right. I was just going to ask you now, when you're spraying this stuff, Do you got to really be careful of what kind of clothes you're wearing? I was going to ask you that because you get that mist in the air, and if there's a little bit of a breeze going, it could blow on your skin.
Exactly. Now, on your skin, I'll just put some more stripper on and I'll talk about that. So I've
Okay,
taken off one round.
I see that.
So it's gone through the yellow and whatever else was there, the bluey purple stuff. Now, when you're spraying, always move your hand as you spray. A lot of people go squirt, squirt, squirt,
Uh-huh.
and it's very much like spray painter's action.
You want to get a nice even coat all over.
Yeah. Now,
Uniform.
sometimes you'll get a trigger that'll just stop spraying efficiently. So you grab the bottle and give it a teeny squeeze, not much, and
Okay.
it helps push the liquid into the tube, and then it goes really well.
Uh-huh. Because I was having issues with the bottles I was using, and I was like telling my wife, Minnie, the body shop girl, that the bottle action ain't working out too good, and I actually had to start relying on using a brush like you were saying earlier. But now that I know that you squeeze the bottle like that, I can
And it just
understand how that would actually work. I didn't even think of that. That's a very good tech tip right there.
no, that's a good one. Cheers.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Simon. When you're spraying that, it's such a fine mist. When you're standing in the angle of it, and you might have a little breeze, and that stuff gets on your skin, it kind of burns, bud.
Yep, you'll get a little nip. And what we do is you get yourself a barrier cream. There's lots of that on the market. This is one that we
Uh-huh.
use.
What
So
do you use, and what is this stuff here? This is
this is a barrier cream.
called
So
Skin Guard.
yep. Now it doesn't have to be our one. All the shops will have them. And so
Uh-huh.
what I do is just and so all the
So you
people
put it
that
on, you put it on your face, on your arms, your hands,
yep,
and that'll keep it from irritating your skin if it gets
yep,
on.
is like putting a glove on yourself.
Got it.
And I've had lots of painters who get caught in a bit of the breeze. Now,
Uh-huh.
if you get a little bit on you, it's not going to bite away and leave a red mark on your face or anything like
Right,
that.
right.
It's a very short term, but the thing is this will stop that. So,
It's more of an irritating feeling than a extreme burn feeling.
exactly. So, back on with my hat.
So we
Uh,
got one coat of spray on the primer. Now, will you go ahead and spray that again?
at the moment, it's looking quite wet. So,
Uh-huh.
um, and
So if it's
doing it,
wet, that means it's working. If it's dry, spray some more on there. And I
yep,
see that. Look at that bubbling up right there. Look at that. When you took the yellow off, we saw where it didn't really bubble up, but it penetrated enough where you were scraping it off. And now that you're putting it on the primer, like Simon was saying, you see the different variances in different styles of textures and paints, how it comes off.
exactly. Another thing for us, Pete, is we using our triggers before, but you'll get a lot of commercial guys who will want to do a quicker way, and this is a gravity gun, which you'll be
Right, I see
aware of.
that.
Now, so what I've done is I've got the stripper in the gun,
I
and
never thought of that. I have a gun that I could have used that with.
now what you do is you turn all the air down.
Very low.
Because the gravity will push the stripper through by itself,
I see.
and all you want is the smallest amount of air to give it shape. So,
Got it. So
you'll
you're
see what I
talking
get.
like maybe 5 pounds, 5 psi.
Yep, and you just mess around with it. So, like I've got here,
Wow. Look at that.
that way you're not going to vaporize it.
I see that. If I would have known that trick, that's exactly how I would have applied it.
So you got a big car. This is a way
Yeah.
of getting some bulk off.
That right there is one of the best tech tips that I've seen for your stripper already.
Cool.
That little trick right there. And I'm going to tell everybody, if you don't want to use your $1,000 HVLP gun, go over to Harbor Freight and buy yourself a $15 or $20 spray gun. Am I right,
Exactly.
Simon?
So there you can buy your real pro ones, the developers, etc., and pay top dollar, or you can get
Uh-huh.
some real cheap ones, and it's perfect for this.
Exactly. That right there, if I would have known that, that's exactly what I would have done. I like
Sure.
that idea.
Good. Well,
Now,
that's
one more question while we're waiting on that. What
yep,
is the best temperature that you can use this stuff in? What's the temperature range of the best use? Because I know out here in America it gets really, really hot. Like right now, it was 110 degrees today. And if I would have done that in late afternoon, that stuff would have dried faster than it would have worked. It would have just
yep,
evaporated in the air.
exactly. I'll get my little tin, so hopefully I can talk in the right language. Um, we've got here, which is in Celsius, 10 to 30 degrees Celsius. So you'd have to convert that to Fahrenheit. But over here in New Zealand, it's cold. I'm wearing a thermal under
I
my
see
shirt.
that.
And I actually put the stripper before, I put it in some warm water
Huh.
to warm it up. Now,
Really?
just not too
Huh.
hot, because if it's too hot, it can boil. So
Right.
I open the lid up, I sit it in some warm water, and then it only takes 3 or 4 minutes, and it brings it up to temperature.
Okay.
Now, so we want it not to be too cold, and also if it's too hot, it can then start to evaporate. So it's getting it in. Sometimes people, where it's really, really hot, they'll do this sort of work even in the nighttime. If it's too hot, you'll find that it'll be evaporating too quickly. And if
Yeah,
it's too
right.
cold, it doesn't go through the triggers that well, and on that front. But it works no matter what. If it's too cold, then it a little slower, maybe 5 minutes slower. Too hot, you're just going to waste product. Just going to do more testing here. So where these bubbles are, it's
Yeah,
going right. You can see it's probably where it's been ground in the past.
I see that. And
And underneath,
now you're hitting Bondo.
yep.
Is that the name of that stuff out there? You call that Bondo out there, or what's the name of it?
Bondo sometimes. Bog is often another name
Bog.
for it.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
yeah, it has all sorts of names.
Now, let me ask you this while you're stripping that down, Simon. What country is your biggest buyer of this stuff?
Well, New Zealand is at the moment, because that's most of our history. But
Uh-huh.
America's growing fast.
Good.
They're loving it, and
Yes, they are. I love that stuff. It's people that are watching this video right now are probably in awe. I mean, look at this. You're not even making a mess. It's
this is
very
all.
easy to work with, and it's just coming off really, really simple.
So I'm not pushing through anything that's hard.
So you're just using normal pressure. You're just scraping it off, and then once you get that coat off, you'll spray another one. You'll just keep continuously doing it until it's all gone.
Exactly. And the idea is that you can be doing this all day. But you're not.
What I like about it is what you said in the beginning. It's not a gel or a paste. You don't cover it with plastic. And I mean, you're working automatically just right off the bat. You're already stripping the paint off
Exactly. Oh no,
from
it's.
the beginning.
And in this case here, when we're hitting Bondo, it's when I found this hood the other day. It was at a proper customs place, and I had no idea what I was actually going to find, but that's all right. So this has got. It looks like it's had a repair across the top where it's been ground.
Yes,
Down the
I see
side here,
that.
it looks more like its original recipe down here,
Uh-huh.
and that's all again quite normal. one thing is with this is there's no dust.
Yeah.
So because some of those old paints are full of lead, and if you were sanding the lead, you'd be creating all this toxic dust.
Right.
So if this was lead, it's all wet. There is no dust.
Well, all I can say is that your stripper is just, it's amazing. Now, let me ask you this. What gave you the idea of inventing this product, Simon?
Cool. Okay. It was my father. I was whinging to him one day. I started off as a cabinet maker, furniture restorer, and as I was in a situation where I could never charge my hours out. I would spend 100 hours and maybe charge 50 of them because that's all a person would pay for the sort of thing, and because everything was so slow. And I had to do so much sanding and all that sort of thing. And I was whinging to my father one day, and he said, well, make your own. And New Zealand is famous for its, what we call our number 8 fencing wire. We invent things.
Got it.
And so I thought he was being crazy. He said, no, make your own. So over a few years, I just messing around, and I realized that if you could dissolve the old finish rather than burning it, you could effectively reverse the drying of the paint.
I see what you're saying.
So we dissolved the old finish, and because I wasn't restricted by having to make a product that was $20 a litre or whatever, I was only focused on what was working because I had my own company we had restorers doing up houses and all sorts of things. And so we were only focused on a product that works. And so I didn't want to make a paint stripper. I needed to make one so that we could actually survive in business. We literally were going out the back door. And then as soon as we made our own product, it was like suddenly our heads above water and we actually are not going broke, which was nice.
Wow.
And then ever since then, we've just continued to modify, and we don't know what we're looking for. We just, every now and again, an idea will come up. Often a customer will come up with an idea, and so you're just always listening. And so,
yeah, that's a beautiful product, but I mean, I noticed on your website it says that you're doing wood, you're doing bricks, you're doing concrete, basically anything and everything that has varnish or paint on it, you're doing.
We had a man today from America called he's got cinder blocks to do. All the paint on there, it's all got lead, and it's like, how do we get, and they got to get the paint out of the concrete.
Got it.
And so what we sort of do is we like to work with our customers. So a person will send us a picture of what they're restoring, and then we will give them some thoughts and ideas, and that just helps the person. And then as they get more and more into it, they're away, and they sort of become part of the club.
Now, one thing I'd like to say about hand stripping a car, when you hand strip, like Simon's doing, the hood of the vehicle, you're keeping the factory self-etching on the car. You're not blasting it off with sand blasting or any other type of abrasive, which actually protects the metal a lot further than abrasive moving the paint.
I mean, exactly. We're working with the surface that the manufacturer did, or the last person to restore, and also we're not creating heat. And with these big panels, if you are grinding or whatever and you put heat into it, you can actually warp the panel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Things don't fit properly. But
that's right.
And this idea came originally from Again Furniture, where we actually wanted to use the original sanding that was there, and then we discovered on cars, because I'm right into classic cars, that they're no different. They're originally ground and leaded and all the other things they do, and very, very similar logic to the furniture. And you see here with the
I
Bondo,
see that Bondo lifting up. I see that
it's all
bond
creeping in
coming
and that
off
sort of
quickly.
things.
I see that. It's very amazing.
So what we would normally do, if time wasn't a factor, what you'd do is just keep that wet, and it will just wrinkle up the whole thing. So,
Right.
so I think some of these blues and things will be some of the original colours down the side here.
I'm going to tell you this. I got the package deal from you, and it included 3 gallons of stripper and 1 gallon of flush. And I did a 1971 Chevy Chevelle 2-door, top and bottom, inside. I didn't do inside, but I did front to back, top and bottom, side to side. And I only used 1.5 gallons to do the whole car.
Yep, it goes a long way, and that's one of the big points that people, once they realise just how far it goes, it is actually. We used to have a TV ad that said, oh, "You'll save time and money, or I'll eat my hat." It was quite a famous.
Ah,
People used to say, "Oh, you haven't
yeah,
eaten the hat yet,"
right.
but it does go the distance. But the thing
Yeah,
with it,
I'm telling you, your stripper goes a long way. It's amazing that that spray-on stripper, this liquid that he's using on this, works like that. It's unbelievable. Look at this. Look at that Bondo just coming right off. By you demonstrating this, I've actually learned some tech tips from you watching you do this,
cool.
Simon. Because with your stripper, using that scraper style stripping action works a lot better than if you, like you said, would use a putty knife.
Oh, totally. Yep. Pushing it off is.
Pulling it off is 100% better than pushing it off with your stripper.
And it just cuts through the soft paint.
It cuts right through it. It sure does.
Now, just get this glue off. Now,
Well, once again, it's just amazing stuff. While you're doing that, I had a couple questions. Can we go over some questions I actually wrote down? I wanted to ask you this.
hang on a second, I just didn't quite.
Okay, so we're over here stripping. We see that we're stripping metal, but let me ask you this. What about brass and copper and bronze and other metals? If you strip, if it's a painted surface or possibly got varnish on it, is it going to ruin that copper or possibly brass? Can you strip that type of metal with your product?
Yep, absolutely. It doesn't do any damage to any metal I've ever found. So whether it's aluminium or copper, brass, we have people that do the spouting around the house where they've got they want to take that from paint and have it into raw copper. So it doesn't do any damage there. And then you get those likes of the Aston Martin type cars, those British ones.
Aston Martin, yes, aluminum.
Yep, and so it doesn't damage that at all. So it's great on boats, all those sort of surfaces.
Let me ask you this, though. What about a fiberglass Corvette that
Yep.
we want to strip the paint off it and we want it prep ready so we don't... Is it going to eat that fiberglass resin? Is it going to eat the gel coat off of the vehicle?
Okay, if you get the timing right, it won't damage the fiberglass at all. And on our website we have a Corvette that we do the hood on.
Okay.
And that's and we get questions every day about this very thing. And so, if you put the stripper on, wrap it in plastic, and then go for lunch, you are going to damage the car. But like with this, as soon as it's through, what we are then doing, you'll see me soon do something called flushing, and we and on the actual Corvette, there's a forum, a web page for Corvettes, and they're just loving Coopers. It's
Just a lot of fiberglass guys are using your stuff.
totally, and the plastic bumpers, some of the cars with the rubber.
Right.
And it's about the timing. So this
I
is
mean, you can
working
see
my.
it's before your eyes. You're stripping this, and it's coming up. Now, I see you're having a little bit of problem with that red primer. What's going on with that, Simon?
Well, this is this. It's just because this was the original recipe. It's
Uh-huh.
it's going through it, but it's just needing more time than on the top.
Okay.
So, so I'm going to attack this now with our steel wool.
All
So this is
right.
all for this. I've got rid of the Bondo, the brown, and so this is our steel wool. Now, our steel wool's from Europe. It's a very long, sharp wool, and
I see
just
that.
just chop off a chunk, and then so this is wet with stripper.
So when it comes down to the factory primer or the factory epoxy or etching, it takes a little bit longer to get it off, but with elbow grease, it'll come off. And I see that using that steel wool, it's just taking it right off. Look at that.
And you'll see a number of our videos show the wool.
Look at this.
So
Now, I know when you buy a kit, when you buy a Cooper Stripper Club kit, you actually include steel wool and the Scotch Brights.
exactly. So we call this stripping wool. The stripper is because this has got a pasty feel to it when I scrub. I can feel a
Yeah,
paste and
I see that. You can tell that it's a different texture than when you first started, exactly. And the steel wool, I mean, it's just doing miracles to it. Look at this. Look at it go. Look at that.
so what we've
Once
got
again,
here is
people, this is real time here. We're not speeding it up or we're not doing anything. Simon is showing us in real time what it takes to strip a car. And you see, once again, I'm going to go ahead and repeat myself. That's very important on this, is that he's not covering it with plastic. He's not going to lunch while the stripper's on there. He's doing it ASAP as soon as it's penetrated. Look at that. It's already bare metal. Look at that. So we got the flusher up there. What's going on next, Simon?
okay. Well, just very quickly, where the purple stuff was looking like it wasn't working, what that was doing was softening, and then I discovered that the blade really wasn't doing any more for me without doing too much work. That's
Right?
why I shifted and changed to the wool. So it's important to sort of go, okay, blade's done its job, put that aside, move to the next weapon, which was the steel wool.
And it
I
worked
then,
beautiful.
then I wiped off the goo.
Okay,
Then,
so now you're taking a rag, you're taking a dry rag and drying it off, wiping it
yeah,
off.
just wiping off the as much
Right,
as possible,
right.
but not going too
Okay.
crazy. Then we get this here. This is we call it a grit embedded pad. So it's not actually a Scotch Brite, it's actually a product we have made for us, but it's a nylon type weave, and it's actually got 180 grit aluminium oxide
Wow.
in it. So this is actually,
Wow.
these are amazing. So
They are amazing. I used them on that Chevelle.
cool. So I just hand cut it into thirds. Now the flusher is a rinse, and it's not a neutralizer for the stripper because the stripper is already neutral. What this is going
Really?
to do, and is again, let's give that a light squeeze.
I'm glad you showed us about that bottle where you squeeze it to get it to come out
Cool.
because I was having a lot of issues with the bottles getting that chemical to come out. But now that I see how you squeeze it, that really makes it a whole different action altogether.
Good. Cool. Now, the flusher is a slow drying solvent cocktail we put together.
Uh huh.
If you use like gun wash or lacquer thinners or something like that,
Right.
one that just stinks and you really hard to work on it,
Right.
and it's also highly flammable. The flusher
So
here,
yours is. So you're saying that your flusher is non-flammable.
now it's not that it won't burn, it just has a way higher flash point or lower.
Okay.
My sons will say, "No, Dad, lower flash point."
And
Anyway,
I know that the smell is not toxic like a lot of this stuff is.
oh, totally. So the thing is, why we use this is that it's slow drying. What we wanted is more work time. We didn't want
Oh,
something.
okay.
If it dried too quickly,
Uh-huh.
then you're wasting product and all that. Now you see that
That's true.
the rust is all the scaly rust on top is just breaking away.
Now, speaking of rust, let me ask you this. Can Cooper Stripper remove rust? Yes or no?
It will remove the scale. It won't kill rust. That's what you use.
Okay, you said scour. What do you mean scour? We're in
No,
America over here.
the grits in the pad. So
Mm-hmm.
any surface rust that is
Surface rust.
as it's built up over time, it'll smash that all off.
It'll smash
And
it down and eliminate it. Got it.
yeah, and then what you've got left afterwards is then what you've got to deal with.
Yeah.
Then what we do is
Just wipe it down.
wipe it off. So
Wow.
the
Now,
idea of
what
this
kind of
is
rag are you using? Are you just using a paper towel or what?
no, actually, I'm using an old towel.
Okay.
So what you do is your good ladies will say, okay, you can use this old towel and I'll buy some new ones.
Got
So
it. That gives Mama an excuse to go buy new towels.
exactly. It's
Let me ask you this. I heard you say that your flusher is not a neutralizer, that the stripper itself neutralizes itself as it's being used.
no. The stripper is neutral to start with. So
It's
the
already neutralized.
yep, the stripper, and that's why it's good on like
Huh.
fiberglasses, things like that. Is we are not burning the paint off with an acidic stripper. So most strippers are acid and are burning the
Uh-huh.
paint. This is
Got it.
this is dissolving the paint off, and then
Yes.
the flusher's job is to rinse it clean,
Got
and
it.
that now is done. So
It's done.
it's
Look at that.
that will now dry.
That is beautiful. That's one of the cleanest strip jobs I've ever seen.
So thank you.
That's amazing. It's amazing. It's unbelievable, Simon. This stuff you got. It's unbelievable, bud.
Cheers. Well, I
Let me
agree.
ask you here. Hang on a second. I got a couple questions. Um, how do people, if people want to buy this, let's say they see the video and say, I want to get some of that. I'm going to have a link in the description below to your website. How do they know how much to order, Simon?
Okay. The so it's cooperstripclub.com, and it's got our online shop there.
Uh-huh.
Often a person will send us a photograph. They'll say, I'm stripping this. How much do I need? Now,
Okay.
most middle-sized sedans are sort of that 5 litre can. That one, and what was the size of that can, Pete?
It's 1.32 gallons.
Yeah. So usually most cars
So
are
you got
that.
about a gallon and a quart in there. It's a gallon and a quart, basically.
Yep. So usually it's like that size or double, and so sometimes people are doing the inside of the cabin or the engine.
Oh, okay. Need extra.
But we really encourage people to send us a photograph of what they're doing, and then we're able to sort of recommend to them.
Yeah.
In general, that's the sort of amount they use for most cars, as you were saying before. So
Now, I want to go ahead and mention this. When you get on your website, I noticed that you got kits. You sell them in a kit package. It comes with the Scotch Brite pad, the custom scratch pads. It comes with the steel wool. You got brushes that you give with your kit, little wire brushes to get into intricate places that are hard to get to. And I mean, it's a full kit of stuff. If somebody just wanted to buy a gallon jug of this stuff, can they do that?
yep. I mean, we say to people, start with a pack to get the whole lot, to get the whole experience, but on the page you'll see there are refills. So if someone wants to
Okay.
get a stripper refill, they can just do that. So that we're not
So
saying
you're
you
calling
have.
it a refill. All
Yep.
right.
And we're not
So
saying
what you're saying, you're suggesting to get one of the kits, the complete kits. That way you got everything. You're going to teach yourself how to do it. One more thing I want to say is when you get one of your kits, you don't just put all the stuff in there in a box. You literally have an instructional sheet that it tells you how to do everything right off the bat.
totally. We spend a lot of time on the education. We
Yeah,
in there.
you
There's the,
do.
the
That is
guides
very true. I agree with you 100%.
because we want a person to succeed, and then of course they will then want to buy more and tell other people, and it sells itself when people have had a good experience.
Now, let me ask you this question. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Simon.
Yep, and if someone is struggling, we want them to reach out to us so that we can find out what's happening. So
Yeah.
it's very much not a
And you actually got, I just want to let everybody know, on your website, you actually have an American telephone number that you can call directly to you.
yep.
So let's just say it's 12 o'clock. Let's say it's 12 noon our time. What time would it be where you're at?
6 hours difference at the
There's about a
moment.
6 hours difference, so we get a lot of
So
calls.
you would be 6 a.m. in the morning. What time do you open your doors? What time do you open?
We're open by about 7 in the morning.
7 o'clock. So that
Yep,
would be about 1 o'clock American time. That's when they can call you to start talking to your tech reps and get the information they need.
totally, totally. And there is a big difference in time across America too. But
Yeah.
yeah, about that time, we every morning get American calls, and
Now let me ask you this: I'm going to buy a kit from you. I'm going to spend the money with you. I'm going to buy it. Okay. I want to know what is. I'm getting this stuff from halfway around the world. Is this going to cost me $1,000 to ship it to me? How am I going to get this? Where's it coming from?
good question. So it's coming from New Zealand, and we air freight it. So you order it on say a Monday. Usually by that Friday you'll have it. You'll have it. It might take a bit longer
Wow.
depending on how rural you are, and because once it hits America, the couriers then take over from there. Now, because you're dealing with us at source, if you spend $149 at the moment, $149 or more is free freight. So a person buying our smallest pack gets free freight. So you go in there and buy a stripping pack A, it's free freight. So if we put
Okay.
it into stores, then there'd be all those margins, and then there'd be all this freight and things like this. Because you're buying it off the people that make it,
Uh huh.
we're able to. It's really good with the freight. We can get you
Right.
brand new, fresh
I
product.
got a lot of people asking a question, Simon. Where can I buy this in the United States?
You can't. It's it's an online system. Because
Okay.
right now it's going into all over the world. It goes to the UK every day.
Are
It's
you
going,
ever going to have? Are you ever going to have a supplier in the United States where people in the United States can purchase it?
no, we won't. Um, the 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 thing with the stores, it's about the knowledge the store has with the product. And
Okay.
we have a thing where a person will be using it, they'll have questions, and it's not really what the stores are for. I really like the stores we have here and what we do, etc. But getting the information about this is not what the stores are for. So we've found,
Well, you know, we do live in an e-commerce world, Simon.
yes,
I
and
think everybody's used to that now. But
no, they're
one
good
more
questions. Good
question.
question.
One more question I have is I got 3 gallons from you. I got a gallon and a half left over. How long is this stuff going to survive until I need it again? What's storage life on this shelf life?
Okay,
Once
good,
the
good,
can
good.
is open.
Okay, years. This is what you do. You first of all you keep the can dry. Don't let it get wet because it'll
God.
rust.
Uh-huh.
Then you make sure it's out of the light. So put it in a cupboard.
A dark, cool place.
Yep. And I had a lady whose husband had died 10 years before, and she had our stripper in her cupboard. And so I went and saw it over 10 years
Wow.
later. It was still working fine because it actually was in a cupboard.
Jeez.
Now, if you leave it in the sun, etc., then it gets at it. But this has not got fillers in it. It hasn't got water in the stripper. It's not going to. So all you do each time is give it a good shake,
Okay.
and then it's all good to go.
Now I'd like to go ahead and say this, and this is a fact. I know this for a fact. Aircraft stripper, and I'm going to go ahead and use that. Everybody knows what airplane stripper is. Once you open that can and you subject it to the air and it gets in the can, that stripper will go bad.
Yep. This
That
doesn't.
stripper, it evaporates. Once it gets air into the can, it deteriorates, and after 6 months to a year, it won't even work anymore. It loses its potency of even stripping anything at all, and you're wasting your time. And you're telling me that your product doesn't do that. That's what you're
Doesn't do
saying.
that. Doesn't do that. We again use. Sometimes a client will call us and they've bought a house and they've got a tin of Cooper's stripper in it from the last owner, and we always like to get a hold of those products to do tests. So we actually can try out a 5 or 10-year-old stripper, and it works. I mean, its color changes. It isn't so red. It goes more brown, but it still works.
I just did a TikTok. I don't know if you have TikTok or not. I just did a TikTok of me stripping that 71 Chevelle. It's got over 5,000 hits. I just put it up about 3 hours ago. That thing is going ballistic, bud. People are on that video talking about it, that when they see this paint just falling off, all right, it's amazing. You got a beautiful product there, Simon. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate the demonstration. And it's time for my friend Pete to say goodbye. It's 9 o'clock here. I've been working since 6 o'clock this morning, dude. I'm tired, Simon. I got to go.
Fair enough. So,
okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much for everything that you're doing for us, restoration guys out here. The product that you invented, I'm going to go ahead and say it is one of the best products I've ever used in my life. And I'm going to continue to use it and promote it to the best of my knowledge to help you be a success, bud. We got to go. Take it easy, and we'll see you later.
Okay, cheers.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.